Hello, it's Cryptocritic. Today I want to talk about my censorship in rbtc. Now I do want to start off, I want to say I hold Bitcoin Cash. I don't hold any other cryptocurrency at this time because I believe in ultimately having a single money system. So there's been very few points in my life where I've ever held multiple cryptocurrencies for that reason. And I do believe in the Bitcoin Cash project, and I'm not opposed to the project itself. I'm also not opposed to Roger Ver, although my video might seem to be somewhat of a criticism of him. I am not opposed to him, and I do have great respect for that person. The point of this video is just to highlight some unfairness and hypocrisy and censorship in the rbtc community. This is Roger Ver's subreddit, but it's primarily controlled by the user uBitcoinXIO, also known as David Shares. This video is not financial advice. I also want to say I used to be a Nano supporter. I have since reconciled my views with Bitcoin Cash. My main concern was security and decentralization at scale. I have cleared that up now, and I might make a video on it in the future. I see huge value in Bitcoin Cash due to its adoption, privacy features, token economy, and smart contract features, all of which Nano lacks. I have unlisted my Nano videos, but you can still search them with a link. I can provide them upon request, and I give you full permission to use them in whatever way you like if you want to. Okay, now that some of those are cleared up, let's get into the timeline of events. This is going to be complicated. It's going to be probably a little bit hard to watch just because it's probably going to end up being long. But it's necessary for me to explain what exactly has happened and for me to be able to draw a reasonable conclusion from it without kind of leaving you asking too many questions. So I'm going to go ahead and go through this timeline of events that I've written up, and I'm going to take you to some evidence of different things. Now, a couple of things. A lot of this stuff has happened at the very least 4 to 6 months ago. So about half a year. Some of this stuff is even deeper. Like I think what I'm about to read you was even more than 6 months ago, like 7 or 8 months or so. So I was a bit younger, and I was still legally a teenager at the time of a lot of these events. I have made mistakes, but the point of this post is, or this video is mostly to point out really bad mistakes on the people that are in power in rbtc, and this is beyond me. This is affecting other people, and this is affecting people's view on us. And I strongly believe that it needs to be fixed, or at least pointed out and exposed for what it really is. So without no further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. I just wanted to have you keep those things in mind as I'm reading this. Cryptocritic17 made a post, make a post in rbtc asking for help with a friend who had Lyme disease. After I did that, I was harassed and censored. It did take me multiple hours to prepare that post, and I did like cross-post it around 10 times. And the reason I got upset was because it was my parent post that was censored, not really any of the other posts I cross-posted. So I ended up wasting a lot of time with that post. Also, I had multiple individuals try to slander me for even having asked for money. I wasn't aware that there was a rule against asking for money in rbtc. The only thing I was aware of was that it claimed to have no censorship. So that's what I was thinking about, and that's what I was looking at. Now, we know the story from here. Later, Roger Ver and his mods allowed themselves to make a Bitcoin Cash fundraiser where everyone was basically being begged for their money in order to give to developers. So we could go back and we could ask ourselves, was I really in the right here? But at the same time, a rule's not a rule if you're allowed to break it, right? So I guess it could go either way. Maybe this wasn't the best idea I had in mind to help my friend, but at the same time, it's not. I don't find it exactly fair that I received the absolute negativity that I did, and then it turns up that the rule doesn't even matter depending on who you are. Made a little note here about what happened afterwards. Mixed story, had some kind of a positive ending. But basically, I felt a little bit embarrassed because I was smeared as a troll. I created a new account called Fall the Banks 3301. I did this because of negative and undesirable behavior and attitudes in the community. I decided to use my alt account for some directed and heated engagement. So some stuff that I somewhat regret due to the way I was doing it. Not because I was doing it in general, but because of the way I was doing it. And outside of rbtc, I will admit to having done some trolling. However, I did not have any intention of having my account doxxed, which is what happened. So I didn't really bear in mind any severe consequences for any of my trolling behavior. I just thought, well, I'm on the internet, I am bored. Let's just poke around and have some fun. I simply spoke my mind without fear of being censored, but I soon learned that I would be censored. I didn't realize that at the time. That's why I didn't really pay it any attention. I do acknowledge some fault on myself. I was not careful with my personal information, and that's how I was able to be doxxed. And I also see myself as having been too abrasive and too mean to others at times. And I do, and if anyone was a victim of that, I do apologize. I was being too teenagery, which I was a teenager at the time of doing it. And I guess libertarian teenagers can sometimes be rough around the edges, I guess. Uh, but in all fairness, usually when I was doing anything like that, it was something in retaliation to someone else. I thought they were being hateful or harassing. So I guess I just escalated things beyond what I should have. But anyways, we'll get to what exactly was said and what exactly happened in a minute. I stood up for the BSV spokesperson, user Crypto Rebel, who owns the Bitcoin Cash SV sub. I got labeled as a troll for that, and it was literally just like 1 or 2 days later. They removed my account from rbtc for abuse. And I have evidence of the 3 cited comments that were abusive. I said to one person, stop crying like a little bitch. To another person, I said, if you don't like it, then you can go F yourself. And then I told someone, and I believe it was, I guess it might have been an rbtc, but I tell someone, your F your white flag, PUSSY status ban. You Bitcoin XIO later lied and said that that some other information was also part of the reason for my ban. However, he did not cite that at the time and did not know about that at the time. So it actually wasn't, and he was lying about that. Anyways, let me show you the conversation I had with him so that you can see what exactly, you can get some context on what exactly happened. So I get a message. You have been banned from participating in rbtc. You can still view and subscribe to rbtc, but you won't be able to post or comment. Note from the moderators. Abusive. Multiple posts with abusive comments towards others. Read the sidebar for the rules. All I say is define abusive. I'm responding back. This is where he says, stop crying like a little bitch, and the other 2 things I said. And then he says, and several more. This is not just a one-off thing. This is a long pattern of aggressive and abusive behavior towards others in this sub. The rest of it isn't posted here, but I basically say that I don't think that's fair because I never got a warning, and immediately after I was muted. So that made me upset, and I'll get to what happened after in a minute. I did express I would have definitely removed all these comments and any other comments of this variety, and I would have apologized to the people I said them to if I were given the chance. However, I was immediately muted, and every time I would try to contact him, he would just mute me again. And he did not care for me saying, I don't want to apologize to you because I didn't do anything to you, but I am willing to apologize to the people that you say I was abusive towards. He did not like that. He felt like that undermined his pride, I suppose. So he did not really acknowledge that. There's also other editors in rbtc that have done far more abusive things than this. And I do want to point out, you could say on some gray area spectrum that what some of those couple things I said was somewhat abusive, and I could, I guess, agree with you. But just reading this, where do we draw the line between free speech and abuse? I thought this was a free speech sub that wasn't censored. So if we're gonna say it's abuse, then I would at least like to see maybe like a warning saying, hey, as a mod, I think this is abusive. You should stop. I did not receive a warning at all. I was immediately banned permanently. It wasn't even a temporary ban. It was a permanent ban. Upon asking just for a simple definition, I got muted. And then when I used an alt account that I'd already created, basically I got slandered for, well, it wasn't slander because I did do it, but they said I ban evaded and then immediately banned that account too, even though I was just trying to point out no one's giving me a definition for abusive. And I've been immediately muted with that warning, and I thought that was unfair for a free speech advertised sub. So yeah, I use my main account. So after that, I use my main account, which is already an rbtc, uCryptocritic17, to defend my alt account's ban. I also defend the ban of the Bitcoin maximalist and rbtc troll U Hearns, because I felt like he was unfairly treated, and I'll get into what happened there in a minute. After getting fed up with some of the stuff going on in BCH and some concerns over security and some other concerns, um, I temporarily converted to Bitcoin SV. But I later figured out there were some problems with Bitcoin SV that I found irreconcilable, such as Craig Wright basically being in control of all the node software, which I didn't realize at the time. And part of the problem with that is if he turns out not to be Satoshi, well, he's got complete control over the Bitcoin SV project. And also, there's been talk of him wanting to add the ability to censor transactions and to give extra power to miners, which wasn't originally there. And there's been really no refutation of these claims. And there has been proof of him making claims like this. And to me, if Bitcoin becomes censored, if Bitcoin becomes a thing that the miners or the government can just say, we don't want to see this thing, we're going to censor this transaction now, then I don't want to have anything to do with it. So that's why I left Bitcoin SV. Also, there's also a couple other problems with Bitcoin SV, such as the status culture, the hatred of privacy, the hatred of SLP tokens, the fake adoption and the spam being labeled as adoption, and I just felt like it was kind of a bit of a dead end. So that's why I eventually came back to Bitcoin Cash. But after expressing that I now liked Bitcoin SV more than I liked Bitcoin Cash, and at the time I had a position in both. I was immediately banned, just within a day or two of after saying that. My ban was deemed justified because the user Shadow Orson and Bitcoin XIO teamed up to dox me, and here's how they did it. It was kind of crazy the lengths they went to in order to do it. They connected my Reddit account to my Twitter account to get my real name. They used my real name to get my memo.cash account. They found a link to an honest.cash article I wrote on memo.cash, and found a link to my Reddit account, Fallahbanks 3301, on my honest.cash account, which I stupidly placed and forgot about. So if I weren't to have done that one thing right there, I would have been safe. But I guess I'm not perfect, and I didn't foresee the amount of retaliation I would get for standing up for myself, or being I feel was being mistreated. But wait, there's more. They created a fake impersonator account of me called uCryptocritic20 and released personal information on me about my location and my past family situation, and they could have only figured that out by going through my private Facebook. And I don't believe any posts were public, so I'm not exactly sure how they got the information. And it was not linked in any way, so it wasn't linked to any of these other social media accounts. And I also have proof that Bitcoin XIO was part of this because he knew my middle name, which was only knowable by going to my Facebook account. The way that happened was I was banned from BCH Gang, and I came back with another account that just used my middle name. David Shares almost immediately recognized it was me, and then was like, he called me by my Reddit username, Cryptocritic, and then he banned me after I said something. And the only place I put my middle name was on Facebook, which was not linked to any of this in any way. So that's basically proof that he has been snooping through my Facebook. And because uCryptocritic20 got all this information from Facebook, it would go to say, in my opinion, that David Shares and possibly Shadow Orson are the ones that created this fake alt account of me and released this personal information of me, which, if it's not illegal to do, it at least violates Reddit rules, and I would say is at least immoral. I don't think that was deserved at all. They could have just stuck with their basic doxing of me and not went to these low lengths here. I think this was really, really low to release information about my location and fast family situation, which this is not necessary at all. I don't understand why they did this. Anyways, I have an email conversation with Roger. Roger does tell David to be lenient, but David chooses to ignore that, and instead he fights with me. He says if he lies about me. He also offers proof that he doxed me. I did not hear from Roger after that, and I'm assuming he just kind of archived and forgot about the email. After, it was just a couple weeks that I even left Bitcoin Cash. I rejoined BCH, and I try to apologize to you, Bitcoin XO, which I have tried to apologize a couple times in the past. I guess you could say that my apologies were also somewhat pointing a finger back at him, but I was trying to apologize for my part, at the very least. At this time, though, I wasn't really pointing a finger at him. I was just trying to apologize in general. He did acknowledge that I made a request, and he did, and within a couple minutes, he deleted his reply and then never contacted me again. And what that says about me is that he doesn't want others to know. He decided that he doesn't want others to know that he acknowledges that I've tried to apologize because it makes him look bad. It makes him look bad because he's literally just holding a grudge against me and deciding not to let me back into rbtc because of this grudge he holds against me. You, Shadow Worsen, makes threats of submitting a fake police report of being mentally unstable to the police and have a forced wellness check done on me. This is something that actually happened with my parents at one time, and the only reason he's making this comment is because I believe he was in on the You Cryptic Critic 20 doxing, and he knew that this was something that happened to me in my past, which I successfully saved myself from having to go through. And it was not a very good experience, to be honest. The only reason he said this was to harass me because he knew this. That's what I just said. You block space for sale acts undeniably abusive towards me and commands me to kill myself in a graphic manner. I alerted David Shares, user BitcoinXIO, of both of their actions, and neither of them have been banned. So those couple of things I said, I told someone to like go F themselves. I told someone, I call him a status, and I say the word pussy, right? So those were abusive. But telling someone to kill themselves, threatening to put a fake police report and use the police to harass someone, those aren't abusive. But what I did was abusive. To me, that is puzzling. And here's my conclusion here. The original reason for my ban was cited as abuse by David Shares, but it's clear that abuse is tolerated if it's from an individual that the mods like, or even if it's extreme abuse like telling someone to kill themselves or threatening them with police violence. Roger Ver, although he is a good man, must not be fully aware of the abuse of power happening under him, and is now turning rbtc sub into a sub that's a lot more similar to rbitcoin in its unfairness and censorship of thought. This video is just to expose what's happened and clear up some misconceptions about myself. All right, and let's go into just a couple of things here. I'm going to try to be as short and sweet as possible. So this is my email conversation with Roger Ver. I give him a modlogs.fyi link to my ban. Let me prove to you I was banned really fast. This should be just right in here. Cryptic Critic 17 banned, duration permanent, breaking right attempt to service. So yeah, that happened. This is not fake. Didn't deserve to be banned. BitcoinXIO lied about the reason I was banned, and I have proof for it. Please let me back in. At the time, I don't exactly remember what the reason was. I think at this time he didn't reveal how he proved. So I think what happened was, he did know that I was fault of banks, but at first I didn't realize that he actually figured out a way to gather information and figure that out. I was trying to protect my identity from being so severely doxxed as I have been, and I was hoping that they just pretended to dox me, but actually they ended up doxing me. So instead of saying lying, I would probably rectify this and say that there was dishonesty, and then it turned up that he doxed me. But anyways, Roger Ver's response is, David, can you provide some additional insight into this? As I mentioned to you before, I'm not sure what happened before. So I guess this is the second time he's talked to David Shares. I would always prefer to err on the side of being too lenient than too strict with the application of the rules. So he's clearly saying, David Shares, cut this guy some slack. And then I respond, David might actually, from the surface, have an arguable reason to believe I broke a rule by ban evading, but in order to know that, he had to dox me. Aside from my Reddit and Twitter, which were arguably publicly interconnected, he doxed my Honest account, my Memo account, and my Facebook account, and I have proof he did it. I have proof he knew my middle name, which was only on Facebook. And I have reason to believe he also doxed me with personal information about my family and location. Let's go ahead and click that link. All right, I suppose that this is a deleted post I made. I did delete a couple posts to try to clean up my account, and then my old alt account I ended up deleting because I just got mad and I just kind of deleted it out of rage. I realized that that's kind of made this harder, the situation harder to explain. So I should have kept some of it. But anyways, also David has doxed another person. He's doxed a user's private messages. So this should, I'd have deleted that also. But yeah, he did dox another user's private messages. Allowing someone to dox me. Okay, these are comments, so I'll be able to see this one. This was before anyone knew my name. But yeah, so he does dox people, and he did allow me to be doxed before. Isn't doxing also against the rule? Shouldn't this at least equal out? And might I deserve a pardon? You can read that if you want. David shares. Hi, Roger. I'm sorry you're being dragged into this. The BSV folks will stop at nothing to disrupt and divide us. It's clear that it's clear that me and others within the BSV camp are playing games, and it's unfortunate that we have to waste our time on this. I will try to do this in chronological order and stay on topic of me, who is the one that emailed you for being banned. So here he posts proof okay, so this is actually not even, this is unrelated to me whatsoever. This was some BSV supporter that was making some kind of a meme, just distributing an SLP token saying dumb stuff like Roger Ver must support drugs and dark markets and mercenaries and child porn because of his political stances. It was just a dumb meme a Bitcoin SV supporter was saying, and I have no idea why he's including this. He all he says is, I had this sort of behavior. You know, I'm similar, even though I have nothing to do with this other person. He makes a post about me and where I've said some things that I do regret saying to an extent, but I didn't think I'd ever be doxxed. But this was not the reason for my ban, as I've proved to you already. He's actually lying right now. Being extremely abusive. He was notified via mod mail at the time. So yeah, I did proof. So let's see what he said. Is this going to be the same thing? Or is this going to be different? I don't know. Oh yeah, this was a continuation of our conversation. This was me being mad and sending an email. Yeah, and I was, of course, muted again. So this is like the second time I've been muted. And, you know, this other reason he's saying was not even the reason for my ban. He's just adding it in. He's just saying it was a reason. So he knows that his original reason was in lack, so he had to add to it. Anyways, he ban evades, even though all I did was make a post. You know, I'm just saying that, hey, I think this is censorship, and they basically delete my post and ban me again. And then he's trying to say that there's some other individuals that are me. There's a whole bunch of individuals he's claimed that are me, and he has no proof of it. Anyways, he's just rattling off. And if you want, you can read, you know, some of the rest of our response. I give him a refutation here. There's not really anything in particular that I feel like I need. So it looks like my computer froze for a second there. I'll go ahead and let you read what he said. Yep, he gives very thorough proof of him doxing me. Give him a response. I don't get a response back. And yeah, that's the end of that. Let's go ahead and move on. All right, so this is my second alt account. It was basically just a spin-off of my first one. And I kind of just commit suicide with this account. I just say, you know, I've been banned, the sub isn't uncensored, I'm probably never get a definition for abusive, and I'm basically just mad. And it looks like I was upvoted a little bit, which is kind of weird. I didn't remember being upvoted for that. Anyways, I'll scroll through this if there's anything you want to read of context. I try to tag Roger Ver, but he does not really respond to tags. All right, here's someone that posted in my defense. Guilty of being a dickhead? Yes. Calling someone a socialist is abusive now? Roger called someone a bootlicker yesterday. I think it's pretty pathetic to ban someone because because you don't just like because you don't like the rhetoric. Just block them and move on if you don't like their invective. I think this person contributed to discussion occasionally. Thank you, Barnes 3000. I appreciate that. All right, let's move on. Okay, so before I was banned, I made a post saying, "What did user Crypto Rebel do that got him banned?" So I ask, and let's go down to David Scher's reply. I find it retarded that bans. Okay, so this is Lupaganov, another person that's at times defended me. I find it retarded that bans don't include a paragraph explaining the ban and the broken rule for the ban. Altcoin Scammer doesn't cut it. All right, so Bitcoin XIO responds. He says Crypto Rebel was banned for being abusive. So, like me, they say he was abusive. Talked to him a couple of times. Please ask him to tone it down. He always promised he would, but always came back worse than before. Eventually, he got banned permanently. Then he claims he came back with multiple accounts to ban evade, but he does not give any proof of that. He's talking about astroturfing. Still no proof of it. Perhaps we can look. Continue this thread here. And then I think this is me. I asked, can you define abusive? And he did not define abusive. All right, so a little bit around the same time, this is still my alt account, Fall the Banks. I get called out by Jonald Fuchball, who is a developer for Electron Cash. And he says a certain type of troll to be aware of. He gets 24 upvotes, and he's basically just calling me out, calling my alt account out. Here's this guy. I've been downloading that account since day one. Flip-flops back and forth to support Bitcoin Cash. Blah, blah, blah. And I get this guy who continuously spams every single thread that has anything to do with me with just image after image after image. And I'll cover that image in a minute. I say, when have I ever dissed Bitcoin Cash? Seriously, man. Then Green Generosity comes here and halfway defends me. They're asking if Contrarian was ever banned. Contrarian is not banned. He is Greg Maxwell. And his other account, Null C spelled like that. He's not banned either. And I feel like he's very abusive, but anyway, he's not banned. I'm not sure why I am, but he's not. But anyways, he calls me out. It's kind of just like a shit post, really. Anyways, this was the image that they were spreading about me. This was me just kind of trolling and other subs. So none of this was really an rbtc, or at least most of it was not. So I say some trolly things like, okay, socialist. I call people a dumbass every once in a while. A retarded troll. So like I've been abusive, or I've been kind of trolly in other subs, but almost none of this was in rbtc. If you want to look over here, I say a couple things that might have upset a couple people. I call people commie, bootlicker, just stuff like that. I might say some just slurs that aren't really directed towards any like my minority or group of people. It's just kind of me poking fun. It's just anything I can poke fun at, right? So this was me with no intention of getting doxxed, but this user compiled it and decided to post it in hundreds of different places. Anyways, David Shares eventually decided to use this as a reason for my ban, even though he didn't know about it until after my ban. So there's another post. This one is by Shadow of Harbinger. He said he did a study on the censorship in the sub, and he says here the results. So he claims that there's the unjust bans are only 7% of all the bans, and then his interpretation is no censorship. I ask, how does this make sense, and what is your method here? He calls me a 6-year-old on cocaine. So, was I abusive in the past? Was I mean to people? Possibly. But isn't this type of thing arguably along the same lines? Well, apparently, I went punished, but he did not. Anyways, let's move on. This was the post when I stood up for Hearns. This is one of the ones that really got me slandered as a troll. Hearns was banned for spam. What exactly has he done that's out of the ordinary, and which exact part of it was spam? And I even say I'm going to miss him. because I mean he was funny to an extent, even though he was just a complete troll, and everyone at times hated him. I missed him. I say if you want no trolls, then go to rbtc Cash because they said that they don't tolerate trolls there. I said here we support free speech. Here's Shadow Orson stalking me and harassing me. And here I say, okay, so Bitcoin XIO said Hearns did, basically he posted 3 things in a day and he was told to stop and he did not. And I say Bitcoin XIO did the same thing to me. He spammed me with 3 different identical comments. I actually got 5 points for posting that. So let me go to the first one. I'm just going to prove to you that he did that. What's worse is blah, blah, blah. You see that he said this exact thing. Now, if you go back, he's going to say that 2 more times. He's basically just spam copying and pasting. What's worse is he popped up out of nowhere after being an inactive account on Reddit to defend Fall the Banks for his absolute disgusting comments on Reddit, blah, blah, blah. So that's the second time he's posted it. Now let's look at the third time he's posted it. All I believe this was in the same, this was all in the same conversation. Actually, looking at this, he actually posted something 5 times, so this is more than 3 times. But he just copied and pasted this. You can see these are all different comments. If you look at the URLs, they all have different numbers on them because they're different comments. And I believe one of these will actually have slightly different wording, but most of them is just a spam copy and paste job. So if Hearns is going to be banned for spam and it's just posting something 3 times in a day, then what about this? What about this stuff? So he makes some lie claims about another user, a Bitcoin SV supporter. He said he used child porn and assassination to incriminate many users. He did not do that. I could go into detail of what happened. All I did was send SLP tokens to other people, and I sent a link to a picture of like a meme version of Roger Ver with like a funny background that was supposed to like resemble like a dark market, and it just like next to him had a couple words on it like drugs and this and that, and like he didn't even say child porn. He said cheese pizza, and he was supposed to just trying to say, these people support dark markets and it's bad. That's a bad thing, And it was not incrimination. It was just poking fun at people, and I disagree with this method. And I definitely believe in freedom to use markets. So I disagree with this Bitcoin SV person. However, Bitcoin XIO is clearly lying about him. And here he goes. He makes this huge long post, slandering him, slandering other individuals, slandering me, just all together. And then this is the 5th and final comment. Yeah, so basically a spam copy and paste job. Also, and I guess those last 2 were supposed to be harassment comments. But anyways, that's not the point. The point is we don't censor people. I got 4 points for that. I'm a fan of Bitcoin Cash and crypto in general. No need to question my legitimacy. Although I did eventually try to prove my legitimacy, but it was very futile. Hearns trolled here nonstop for years. We never ban people based on their opinions. We do have rules that we tolerate, like spam, scams, and abuse. Mainly abuse. Clearly, though, I'm going to prove to you that he does tolerate abuse. Here, down here, I said, why Hearns but not Egon? Egon posts more in a day than Hearns, and his content is just as spammy and low quality. Why the inconsistency? And Hearns said he removed a comment of his originally, and that's why he kept posting. Is that true? Bitcoin XIO said it's not about quality. Hearns submitted several duplicates, and he was told to stop and didn't. Also, you're extremely suspect, blah, 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 blah. Because he didn't like me. There's more conversation about it. I ask about definition. And this is really just me trying to have principles and trying to stand up for people that I feel were mistreated. And not long after that, I am mistreated. The reason I stood up for him, though, is because my alt account was banned. And I felt partial to other people being mistreated like I was. And then I turn around and I get mistreated again. Anyway, so that was that conversation. Here we have people, just random, just crappy posts. People calling other people trolls without any evidence. They called me a troll, and there wasn't really anything that they were. It was because I was defending Hearns as if it was unjustified. Of course, it was unjustified. The type of quote unquote spam he did is something that Bitcoin XIO and even people like Roger Ver and also a user Egon, uh, they do that kind of stuff constantly. So it's not about spam, it's about censorship of ideas. And here, Donald Fuchball also says Cryptic Critic 17 is a troll in my books. And then, I'm saying I find this comment meaninglessly abusive. I don't like it when developers or moderators run around and harass me just because I'm trying to stick up for other people. At the time, they didn't have any reason to believe that I was really anyone else besides just myself. I say, don't accuse people of being trolls without proof. You disagree on one point, that's it. You wouldn't like someone to do the same to you. Keep the discussion constructive, not trashy. And so there's a lot of just trashy individuals doing stuff like that. Move on here. All right. John Fuchball says, and boom, more proof of trolling. Cryptic Critic 17 apologizing for other obvious BSV trolls and stirring up shit again. What a surprise. So I'm standing up for other individuals who, although I might disagree with, I believe they're being mistreated. And this is a developer, a well-known developer, harassing me. So look, this is what I say. Look, you guys harassing everyone is what made OP delete his post right now. So this was a post another person made, and they harassed him, and he deleted his post. So that's what I say, and I say, how does that make you feel, Donald? I say, P.S. I see you have time to troll me and call me a troll on the internet. Where's the cast fusion that we all spent $10,000 to see? Why are you trolling me on Reddit instead of working on the project that we paid you to do? Edits. I told you said it was coming in November, but still, it's troll policing on Reddit. Really the best use that you can make of your time. And then I get, someone calls me a dick for saying that, basically. but it's true. And cast fusion's still not out. It's it's like what month is it? November. It is November, and Cash Fusion is still not out. It's still in like pre-beta. It's still being developed. But anyways, let's move on. Is it now standard practice to ban users on rbtc based on hearsay and assumptions? So this was after Cryptic Critic 17. My main account gets banned, so this is the second time I've been banned. Which, by the way, I don't know if I was really ban evading by the definition of it, because it was my alt account that got banned, and my main account was already in rbtc. So can you really say I was ban evading? Personally, I think that's arguable, because I was already in rbtc and already using rbtc. It's not like I created a new alt account to evade a ban. I was already in it, right? So I think that's definitely arguable. Cryptic Critic gets banned, and then this person rushed to my defense. So they're basically calling him me as well because he rushes to my defense. Here I have a user that he was part of the doxing of me. And he makes a post saying, I feel so good about having exposed this individual. Should I take a break? It feels so good to be vindicated in your knowledge that you were, or that I was correct, since the first time I tagged his lame ass as a ban evader. But anyways, if you want to look at that thread, you can. Shadow of Harbinger is gilded, and he has 12 points, and he says, wait, what? Are we celebrating banning of every new troll now? Aren't you taking this too far? Blah, 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 but they don't, that's not really, it doesn't, the discussion doesn't really get productive from there. Let's see there, all right. Next one. This is where Shadow Orson threatens to use police force on me. This is actually not the first time he's done it. But he says, just stop. I see you spiraling, and I'm concerned that you might fall into another depression. Should I have a wellness check done? It's for your own good. So it's not very explicit, so I can understand if... I can't really understand if someone gives him an exception. But if no attention is drawn to it, I could maybe understand that, because he wasn't very explicit about it. He was very imply about it. But this is clearly threatening to submit a false police report and use police violence on me. That's clearly what this is. All right, this is block space for sale. This is the abusive guy that told me to kill myself. So he says, you're mad at me because Reddit admins enforce the rules. You're one delusional little cocksucker, kid. Maybe stop breaking terms of service and blaming other people, you stupid little FAGGOT. Ironic coming from a thread where you're begging a mod to unban you. You're fucking pathetic, man. Enjoy your account ban for violating Reddit terms of service. More mental gymnastics incoming from you since you're obsessed little beta male. Lick my boots, you retarded effing peasant. So I guess this does reminisce of some of the abusive behavior that I guess I engaged in with my old alt account. But this is I feel like this is a little more extreme. And I definitely don't feel like it was called for in my situation. So I do ping uBitcoinXIO because I feel like it being worse than anything I've ever done. I ping him and I say, does this comment count as abusive? If it is, then please ban him. Just like he did me. I felt like that would be fair. This is me talking about Shadow Worsen using a police wellness check on me. And this is where block space for sale gets on and tells me to kill myself. So he says, you admit to using sock puppets. Thanks for clearing that up, liar and sock puppeteer it is. See how easy it is to get you to blatantly contradict yourself and lie. You're a worthless sack of shit, kid. Seriously, go fucking shoot yourself in the head and do everyone a favor. What a worthless fuck you are. That's what he said to me. I did report this comment, and Reddit did remove it. But BitcoinXIO, I also tagged him about it, because this was on the same thread, and this person was not banned, and I can prove it. Block space for sale made a comment in rbtc about 3 days ago. You can see right here. And this was, let's see, on the 5th of November. So he's still in rbtc, and you can see Shadow Worsen is still in rbtc. About 11 hours ago, he made a comment on rbtc as well. So neither of these abusive individuals are banned. So you can tell someone to kill themselves. You can call someone all these really, really ugly names. And you can threaten police violence. But apparently none of those things are abuse, according to BitcoinXIO. Or, he's just being unfair. He's not banning people that he doesn't disagree with ideologically. Instead, it's people that make criticisms. It's people that stand up for other people. And it's people that might make him upset. That's the people he bans. And he doesn't ban other people that he likes and agrees with. So anyways, this was my... this is basically the timeline of events for what happened and how I was banned from rbtc. Ultimately, I don't think that rbtc is uncensored. I think it is less censored than rbitcoin. And it's different than rbitcoin Cash SV. They do have censorship, but they're very straightforward with their censorship, and they don't hide anything. And they don't claim to be uncensored. rbtc claims to be uncensored, and they're not uncensored. I am just one example of an individual that has been censored. There's been many Bitcoin SV supporters that have been censored, and many Bitcoin Core supporters that have been censored as well. I happen to be a rare case, a Bitcoin Cash supporter that was censored while being pro Bitcoin Cash. So, this was my story. Like I said, it was a little bit complicated and it was a little lengthy to get through. But anyways, so that's basically what happened. So, I'm probably going to keep this video unlisted because it's not necessarily a useful video for the average person. However, having this video is good because I can share it with other people that need to know, so, I'm confused, why were you censored and stuff. But anyways, so yeah, this is my story, and if you like this type of content, if you like the type of content where people, report on things, they stand up for the truth, stuff like that, you can feel free to like and subscribe. I fully expect a lot of downvotes for this post if I get any interaction at all, and that's okay. Because this is very much a negative-oriented post. And I just want to reiterate, I do acknowledge my own wrongdoing and being a little bit too mean to people at times, even though I felt like it was well-deserved and retaliatory. I did try to apologize a couple times, and I did not do anything because David Shares does hold personal grudges. Trying to go to Roger Ver didn't do anything because I guess he doesn't pay enough attention. Because I guess he's busy, and that's understandable, and I forgive him for that. But anyways, I do recognize some of my own faulty, and I don't think it's excusable to have mods and developers, harass people, dox people, ban one person for abuse. That's like, meh, it could be abusive if you think about it hard enough. Versus not ban someone else for abuse that's telling them to kill themselves, threatening them with police violence, stuff like that. So I think there's a lot of hypocrisy and a lot of stuff that needs to be sorted out in rbtc. But anyways, thanks for watching my video. I'll make some more videos in the future. I may report on other people's bans, other people's censorship. I'll probably make more Bitcoin Cash videos, probably videos with a lot more of a positive tone than this one. Um, might clear up some misconceptions that I've had about Bitcoin Cash to newbies, just because some of my misconceptions about Bitcoin Cash probably exist in other people, and it's probably shooing other people away from the project. So it'd be good to clear some of that up too. But anyways,